Hello to all, and welcome to Nightsky Sanctum, Children of Midnight, Session 15. It has been a wild ride, and we are enjoying it very much. Let's start by introducing everybody and their characters. So we can start with Lilith.
Hi, I'm Lilith. I play Zeph, a Nereid shapeshifter. So they're a fish person, and them and their familiar Ribbert, a frog, are essentially two marbles, brain cells rolling around in a can, just shifting around trying to solve problems.
Morningstar.
Hello, darlings. I am Morningstar, and I am playing Elise. She's our mortal-passing, mind-manipulating, life-loving, hard-drinking, hard-smoking sadist, I suppose.
That fits. And Anya.
I'm Anya. I'm playing Hollis. She is a Gob Baba. She is a short, green-skinned, big-eared goblin of the classic sense. She is obsessed with trying to figure out how to become possessed and how to blur the lines between life and death and this world and the next.
Excellent. And their coven is Nightsky Sanctum. They are a group of relic hunters. They have gone very off the rails from their beginnings, but it's a
We're still hunting relics. It's just for our own selfish, purposes.
It's a wonderful journey to have been able to follow and run so far. So, where we left off, we had just come off the Solstice special featuring Krampus, and when you all returned back to your Covenstead, did we do Drawing Down the Moon? I think we may have skipped that as well. I know it was.
We skipped it because I think Hollis was still in the sewers with the Kappa.
That's right, and the Kappa was able to wipe away the wild magic from you.
Yeah.
To get you safe. Okay. Yeah, so rather than Drawing Down the Moon and Downtime, we're just going to skip ahead several weeks. Everyone's wounds have healed, and good soup from the Kappa. We're gonna jump ahead a couple weeks until so everyone has had a chance to heal, and Morningstar's character Elise has just finished off their long-term project to find a way to meet with or get a contact from the Scarlet Incarnation. Which was it? Do you have it written down?
I don't know specifically whether we were simply trying to acquire a contact, or have them do.
Okay. Let's do a group meeting with the Scarlet Incarnation then, that you're in charge of. You're the leader for.
How exciting.
So, after several weeks of pounding the pavement, talking to members of the Vulture Votary and other covens, you have finally come across an item which is said to be the key to meeting with the Scarlet Incarnation. It's going to require another boat ride, but you have, let's see.
Thankfully, none of us are prone to seasickness. Well, Hollis might be, but she's already green, so we can't tell.
We have a coin with a bat on it, and that is apparently the key. And you are to find a lighthouse on the Queen's side of the East River, and at that lighthouse you should be able to gain access to the Scarlet Incarnation. Trying to remember the name of that lighthouse. It had a very interesting name. I think it was something like Executioner's Rock.
Oh,
It's a real place, apparently.
Apropos.
Yeah. Let me...
oh.
It's a. That's our stream. Okay. Is Morningstar, can you remind us what you did? Some of that's it. Execution Rocks Lighthouse. It's like somebody's really into executions. Execution Rocks. So, yes, that is the area. So, the three of you have taken a boat from your Covenstead. You have boat docks up the East River and have made it through foggy weather to a really small. Ribert's favorite is froggy weather, but you find a 60-foot long island, maybe 12 feet wide, a big rocky island, or a tiny rocky island with a 20-foot tall or so lighthouse on it. And you pilot your little boat up to the lighthouse and are looking around for the way in. With only that coin to guide you. What would you like to do from here?
Well, I suppose we should probably investigate the lighthouse itself with a survey or study. I'm not sure which would be more appropriate necessarily for a distinct building.
Sure, you want to survey it from afar before you land? Maybe take a once around?
We could do that, or perhaps Aram could have a look.
Yeah, he could do a survey.
Okay.
A flyover survey.
The safest option.
Yeah, I would say from the boat it'd probably be lesser effect, but from an owl's point of view, it'd probably be standard effect through the fog.
Cool. Yeah.
Also, are you all using your ritual to telepathically bond?
Yes.
Okay. We won't charge the downtime action for that, since we skipped downtime, so everybody just remove one essence.
Okay.
Alright. So Aron will be able to report back to you all telepathically.
Okay. Well, here he goes. He has a partial success at a 4.
Okay. So what would you like to know?
I guess what side the door is on, if there's any obvious people hanging around out and about.
Okay. Let me just
Which
describe
seems
it.
unlikely, given that they're assassins.
Yeah.
So once Aron takes to the air, he can see down into the lighthouse. It looks like there's a maintenance hatch, and that's just about it. It doesn't look like there's even a door that's human-sized on the lighthouse. Just a simple maintenance hatch and probably a stairwell leading up from there. There is a shack attached to the back of the lighthouse, but it looks like it hasn't been used in at least 30 or 40 years, judging by the wear. It looks like rainwater could easily get inside. But from the top, he's I'm sorry, Aran uses he, him pronouns.
Sure.
Aran can see down, and near there's a footing of concrete that was poured on the ground amidst all the rocks, and in the center of that concrete, there's a triangular hole that you can see water down into from there.
Seawater.
Sea water. So, for the partial success part, yeah, we'll say that's all the information he's able to get.
Okay. How is the terrain? Like, is it able to be walked on? Like, it's
Yeah,
not super
it's
rocky where you can't walk on it?
Well, by you all, it might be capable of being walked on. I'm in heels.
the rocks are rather large and sharp, but not in a particularly nasty kind of way.
Okay.
It would be relatively easy to sort of hop from one to the other, and yeah, not too bad as long as you're not, like Morningstar said, wearing heels.
We're gonna have to get you some flats.
These
Perish
are
the
my
thought.
undertaking shoes.
Are those high-heeled stompers? Have you seen those? They look like galoshes, but they're like stiletto.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
All right. Anyone stepping foot on the small island? Execution rocks.
Heck yeah.
I suppose we must. Not backing down now. We're this close. Apparently.
Well, when you step up onto the island, nothing strange happens. It's nice, solid footing. None of the rocks are sliding around or anything like that. It seems like these rocks might have been placed into a big base of cement because they're not moving at all. You can see they're a little weathered on top, so they've been here for quite a while. And you find that triangular cutout, and when you look down into it, you can see that there are runes carved into the three sides into the ground, and they reach down at least a foot or two before it finds water. And you see that Elise sees that some of the symbols match the symbol on the coin that you have.
Is the indentation the size of the coin?
It's quite a bit larger,
Yeah.
but yeah, you kind of get the wishing well feeling when you look down in there. It looks like there are multiple different kinds of coins, but you have one of the three types of coins that can go in this well, it looks like.
It's mildly concerning. Well, we can just drop it in. But, Seth, do you think you can get a read of this coin for us?
Read as in. What do you mean? Like go into the tunnel, the little hole, and see the runes? See if they match
Well,
the coin?
I wasn't thinking that, darling. I would say perhaps you could look into this coin's sort of
Oh,
history.
sure. If Elise is willing to pass it
Perhaps
over to Seth's
get us a
slimy
little bit of
hands.
information. Yes, you may. We'll wipe it off after. Let it get blind for a
Did you bring
second.
your sanitizer, or at least a wet wipe?
Seth
Okay.
is the living wet wipe. What are you going to
I was sorry, I was trying to just look at the new grimoire. I'm just like figuring out where my psychometry was. I knew I had to do something. So that's one essence, so I can do that.
Yeah.
And how do I roll for psychometry again? That's my insight?
You can use any action that makes sense in the fiction. Generally, if you're doing an object reading, so holding an object in your hand and trying to mentally and emotionally attune to it, we would do focus, but you could make arguments for other actions as well.
Okay. Because I don't have great focus. Actually, I have 2 focus.
Oh.
Do that.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No, I was looking at the wrong spot. I'm just trying to follow around the circle of the grimoire now, and I was looking at the completely wrong place. So
just something for me to mention. When you fill out the grimoires, if you notice, they're like wings of the attributes that go outward, and then there's some dashed lines. Those dashed lines mark where the first level of each action goes.
I got that wrong the first time.
I was doing a tutorial video for YouTube, and I got it right. I got it wrong so many times that I ended up having to re-record that section like 15 times because my brain just would not put them in the right spot. So don't feel bad.
Okay. So I'll just do.
But if you fill those in the right way, they auto-fill the attribute for you. So that's how you
I won't screw that up again.
What are you going to go with?
I will do focus at
Okay.
exclamation mark 2.
Yep.
And we'll see how that goes. Oh, that was a failure at a 3.
Okay.
Didn't work.
So I think that to protect this faction, to protect Scarlet Incarnation, these coins have been enchanted in such a way that they reject scrying. Maybe there's something mixed into the metal, quicksilver or something of that manner that rejects scrying. And so you get this intense, very short-lived headache, and you realize that it's probably best to back off and not try too hard to get information out of it. And that's probably because if these do give people access to the Scarlet Incarnation, it could be really bad for them if they got into the wrong hands. I think that would make the most sense.
I think so.
That does seem quite logical.
But you do see down into the hole, and you have a pretty good idea about the markings, that it looks like it's saying, basically deposit your coin here for entry.
Well, I don't think we can skip the turnstile on this subway. Shall we slip our token in the slot? Hope for the best.
Let's see what else we can do.
Seth, darling, you do it. I don't want to touch that filthy thing now.
All right. A swell of water sort of bubbles up from that triangular hole, and just before it reaches the surface, you feel like magical energy come up out of the hole and swarm up your legs and up your body. It disperses about halfway up your body, except a bit comes up into your hand and deposits itself on under the nail of your index finger. You see a red S appear under your nail, and you still have some magic left over in your hand, and it's like pulling you to give the magic to others.
High five.
So I guess I'll roll up my glove then, assuming you're going to share my little fishy friend.
Absolutely.
All
Sorry,
right.
my screen's getting all crazy. My grimoire and everything shut down on me, so I'm just trying to open it up.
Uh-oh.
So
So
we're going to need to wait right after this.
when you all touch, it shares the magic, and you all get these tiny little, what look like tattoos or bruises under your index finger on your left hand that are marked with an S. And you see deep in the fog behind the lighthouse and behind the shack, you can see something red starting to appear on the horizon. So you'll need to get back in your boat to make your way over there. But you see what looks like an inverted snow globe. There's a island off in the water that it's not foggy inside of. There's like a bubble surrounding the entire thing, and inside that bubble there's no more fog.
Neat.
But there is a large verdant island with a temple in the center and a red statue on top of the temple with 6 arms outstretched.
Mm.
Looks like a goddess of some sort. And you can see about 30 people just walking around the island, you know, like you would see people walking around in Central Park. Just making their way around, going from place to place. There are several other buildings on the premises. And when you take your boat over, your boat penetrates the bubble, and you find yourself inside on their island. And no one seems to bat an eye at your arrival.
Which is terribly rude. I mean, really. Guests of our esteem arrive.
Yeah, that actually is a good point. I need to roll. I need to definitely make a fortune roll based on your lores to see if you are known about other than, being that they have received information that you would be coming. Okay. All right. What are your lores? Brutal.
Strange, brutal, and ambitious.
All right. Seth, can you roll 2 dice fortune roll for strange? Elise, can you roll 2 dice for brutal? And Anya, can you roll 2 dice for ambitious?
Whole result at a 2. Little
Okay.
effect or 1 2.
I got a failure at a 3.
Okay.
A 5, so a mixed result for brutal.
All right.
Oh, I didn't roll
So-
a fortune roll, so yeah.
What's that?
I didn't put the F on my
That's
roll.
okay.
Sorry.
I can figure it out based on the number. Okay, so they don't know you as strange or ambitious, but they do know you as brutal. And it's
Which is
going to be,
convenient.
they see it as partially good and partially something that they need to consider. So, but more good than bad, because that aligns well with the Scarlet Incarnation, as you will see momentarily. So what looks like a priestess in red comes out of the main temple and is making a beeline to the shore where your boat has landed. And she's looking at you and sort of sizing everyone up and waiting for one of you to speak as she's walking up.
Well, hello, darling. We have heard of your work, and, well, I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're big fans. And we'd love to talk to you more about the sort of things you do. Because I do believe there are things we can do together that would be absolutely beautiful. We could truly paint this town red.
She smiles at the red remark. What was the name of the contact that you used when you were working on them?
It was the marriage. Yes? Or was it someone else on the
No, that sounds right.
Safe, darling, do you have the name?
Thank you for the
Sorry.
contribution, Seth.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Ooh.
Do you have the name of the narrated from the Vulture Votary?
I do. That's Ariane Days. Just Anarine
Ariana
Days.
Grande's.
Waterborne.
Anarin, yeah. Okay, great. So she says, "My name is Azra, and I was alerted by Anarin that you would be coming. I bless your arrival. Would you like to come inside and see the temple?"
Yes, we'd very much like to come in and see your temple.
Okay. She uses some kind of spell without saying any words, and your boat stops rocking in the waves. It just goes completely static. So it's not gonna float away or anything. And she
And here
will
I
take.
thought you were all fans of rocking the boat.
She reaches down for Hollis's hand.
I'll take her hand.
All
I
right.
think that Hollis is a child.
I don't know if it quite comes across that way, but if you want it to.
I'm sure to think that I'm a child for as long as is good for her.
All right. So Azra walks you up and says, "We've prepared a meal for you, as well as a test, if you don't mind."
I think we're pretty good at tests.
You hear a strange whooshing sound come from around the side of the temple, and then you hear two more loud whooshes like that.
Is it swinging axes?
No, it sounds like something magic just happened. She hears it and she kind of peeks around the corner, and you see that a couple of people have just teleported in onto the island, and that they are standing in front of a small black monolith, and they turn and wander off behind the temple toward another building. You recognize the spell as a ritual that you can take called what is it called? Greater ritual that allows you to teleport between Covensteads. It is called the Covenstead Bridge. So, yeah, apparently this is a place of power that if you had the Covenstead Bridge ability, you can teleport here quickly with permission from whoever's the owner of this small monolith.
What's the test?
Did it first, darling, or at least make some small talk. Goodness, be polite.
The test. Oh, it's just a tiny thing. Nothing to worry about. Just making sure that you are who is expected.
Oh, well, that should be rather straightforward.
All right. You notice that there's some spell work over the doorway leading into the temple. She passes through it, no problem. And then, since she has Hollis's hand, Hollis is the next through. Hollis, as you step over the threshold, your mind and body become disconnected. You
Not again.
start floating upward and away from your body slightly, and you see that time has stopped, and you float up, seemingly almost out of control of yourself, until you are face to face with the statue that is at the top of the temple.
Okay.
The difference between how you saw it from below and how you see it now is that its eyes seem very alive. It is peering into your soul. And as the rest of you cross the threshold, the same thing happens to you. You just feel your consciousness become disconnected from your physical body, and time stops for your physical body while your mind floats upward. So even though this is all happening within a few seconds of each other, we can just run it all as if it's all happening at the same time. So the eyes are peering into you. Let me describe the statue real quick. So this is a 6-armed goddess that you probably don't recognize because none of your characters have had any particular run-ins with the Scarlet Incarnation to this point. But it looks like a metal statue that people have thrown, like, what do they call them? Those balls of, it's like a powdery paint, like a powdery red paint. It just looks like this statue, like mostly from the waist up, its torso and head, have been pelted with these like balls of dye. So it's got this sort of sandy look to it. And the rain and other elements have caused the red to sort of drain down its body and down a small gouge in the roof and then it drops down onto the ground. So there's what looks like a blood trail leading from the statue all the way down to the beach.
We need to get ourselves one of these.
Wow, those are cool.
And you see that 4 of the statue's arms are outstretched, and 2 are stretched upward. 3 of the arms are empty, and the 4th arm has a feather on it.
I was going to make a joke to that end. I didn't actually think a feather was going to arrive. Shall I put my heart in the other one?
Yeah, so exactly. So I'm going to check it on my phone and see if we're still up.
Oh, looks like we just popped back.
Okay.
I can see myself yawning for a few seconds ago. Looks like we just popped back.
Okay, great. So sorry about that. All right. So sorry about the technical difficulty there. Apparently the power cord was not plugged into my streaming computer very well, but it is now charging again, and we are back up. So I think where we left off, the group had figured out that they need to weigh their hearts against this feather.
That's what happened. We were judged as unworthy and it shut the stream down.
Hollis, there are 3 empty arms, and you feel your consciousness being drawn to one of them for you to weigh your your heart is not quite the right word, but it's close. You are to put yourself on the hand in order to be judged.
So I get to sit in a giant hand.
Basically.
Okay. I will crisscross applesauce right in there.
Okay. Okay. Time sort of unfreezes for you, and you watch Seth walk in through the door, and the same thing happened to them. And then Seth, do you deposit yourself in a hand as well?
Yeah, I'm going to do the thing that dogs do and just like...
All right. You watch as time unfreezes again, and Elise heads in through the door, and the same thing happens to her.
So, am I on the astral plane or some kind of little pocket up at the moment?
I think you could make a gather information roll to see if you can figure out where you are in terms of if it's actually astral or if this is something else. I think that would make sense.
Right.
What would you like to use for that?
I assume study would be the most appropriate thing. The most appropriate action for trying to determine what plane of existence I'm in.
Yeah, I could see study or focus would either make sense to me.
Well, I would actually attempt focus then. I think that's more
Okay.
appropriate. And it's a complete success.
Okay. You think, to the best of your knowledge, that you are currently astral adjacent. It's not a place where your perception could survive for a particularly long time, but it's far more hospitable to your consciousness than the actual astral plane, where you would feel the energy sort of being drained out of you very, very quickly and end up having to return to your body. There are some particularly powerful astral spirits here.
Speaking of spirits,
Yeah.
am I enough within my own consciousness here to imagine myself with a martini in my hand as I sit in one of the hands?
On a complete success, I think that is, yeah.
All right, perfect.
Absolutely acceptable.
At least it is comfortable enough with the astral to summon up a martini in it.
And then do you take the final open hand?
Yes. Yes. Well, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't have a drink, so.
This is true. Okay. Can all of you make a 2-die fortune roll? We're just gonna see how it
See if
judges
we pass
you.
the background check.
It's not going to be anything too major. It's going to be a control
I
roll.
have a 6.
Okay.
My goodness.
I'm the
Hollis
only
is
one
very
that got a
much
bad roll.
herself. Well, you are the one who has all sorts of identities you're always hopping between.
Yeah, let's so everybody else got a 6?
Yeah.
Okay. All
And actually,
right.
Hollis got a crit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
got
really?
exceptional.
Yeah. Exceptional result.
Fantastic.
2 6s.
Okay. Let's start with the 6. You are exactly who is expected. And you have proven that your connection to the astral is solid, and that seems to have helped. And as soon as you sit down, you immediately find yourself able to go back to your body, but you can stay and finish your drink if you'd like.
I shall, because it would be terribly disappointing. So I'll just knock it back before returning to my body.
Hollis, you see several spirits that seem to be drawn to you.
Okay.
And one of them comes incredibly close to you. It seems like it's just sort of doing a flyby, but you sort of magnetically draw it to you. And so as it's passing by, it kind of turns and sees you. Usually astral spirits don't even perceive you. You're so below their purview that they don't consider you. But this one stops and considers you for a moment. And then its eyes brighten and it floats over to you and merges into your perception.
Ooh.
And we can determine what type of astral spirit that is. So you can help me decide that.
Is Hollis finally going to get possessed like they want to?
It's going to be a astral companion with you. It's going to at least stick around while you're here on the island, but it might linger longer depending on its nature and your nature.
And if it really likes
death related.
Yeah. Death astral spirits would certainly abound here. Maybe it was literally like magnetically drawn to you and your curiosities about death and the underworld. It's not an underworld spirit necessarily itself, but it is a underworld aligned astral spirit.
Okay.
Can we get a name for it so I can start shipping the two of them?
Anya, you want to come up with an underworldy name while I do Ceph's?
Yeah.
So Ceph, you rolled a partial?
I got a 1, so I had a bad result.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me grab the book and we'll take a look. This is a controlled roll, so...
You've just shapeshifted so many times that what and who you are is now in question.
Yeah.
I have the trauma of haunted now, so I don't know if we can bring that into the mix.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You can try to withdraw and try a different approach, or press on seizing a risky opportunity. So I think well, hang on one sec. I'm hearing my voice come through, and I want to make sure that all the audio is, there's not any problems there. Okay, I think it's gone. I think you might be haunted by Tina, who was just
Who hated you. Absolutely hated you.
one of the people that you were first able to perfectly impersonate, and has recently died and was a witch. So, what do you think? Maybe not Tina didn't leave enough of an impact on you, or...
I don't know, because she was like a emotion, like an empath or whatever.
Yeah.
Because she kind of mentally messed me up. She didn't like me, but then I did save her with the whole incident on our island.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
maybe she's got some unfinished business or something.
Yeah.
Or she just still really hates my guts.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I
We
like
all
that
hate her too.
unfinished I like that unfinished business. So I think you are weighing you and all the other things that are haunting you, which are in the form of, guards and Tina and other people who have been around you that have died.
That
You
child.
can see, yeah. You well, he
He
died
came
and
back.
came
He
back,
doesn't count.
but they're all sitting on the hand with you,
Ooh.
and you can feel them kind of weighing down the hand. And I think that you're going to need to do something risky to get them to not add to the weight, because you feel
Okay.
like if this thing is detecting them rather than you, or detecting them in addition to you, and it might not be willing to let you pass unless you're able to do something else.
Okay, well, Seth is reckless, so we'll go risky.
Okay.
Stupid,
So
silly fish person, go with the most difficult option.
let's do another 2-die fortune roll then. And
Okay.
what does this look like? Going risky. Like, are you shooing off the other spirits? Or maybe trying to, like, psychically damage them? You feel like, even though this isn't the real world, so you don't feel like you have the same limitations here. Like, it's not limited to your powers, per se. It's more of intention. So you can, whatever your intention is, just feel free to go with it.
Which is why I was able to summon an astral spirit. Jin.
I think what this is going to look like is, because Seth's not completely on the platform right now, so
Okay.
I think Seth will pull himself onto the platform in this astral form, whatever they're in, and spread out their arms in an attempt to embrace Tina, and as a motion of no ill will. It's like, I
Okay.
carry no malice towards you as a person. You're not on this plane anymore. Please be at peace.
Okay.
Roll.
All right. Yeah, let's make that 2-die roll. This time it'll be risky.
Good result. 6.
There we
Oh,
go.
excellent.
She
Six
just
is
needed a
crowd.
hug.
Yeah, she embraces you back, and you feel your weight lift a little, and you even out to the feather, and the other two as well have evened out, even with the other spirit that's come to join Hollis. Did you pick anything?
Yes, I did. I'm thinking I'm going to go with the name Styx, as in the river.
Nice. All right, and even with all of these other creatures and martinis that are sitting on the hands with you, everything balances out completely, and the statue closes its eyes, and your spirits rush back into your bodies as you step over the threshold, as if nothing had happened at all.
But I'm slightly more intoxicated.
Yeah. And Hollis feels that this thing is still with her, and you're able to internally communicate with it. It seems to be as interested in how this all came to be as you are interested in what it is and its nature.
Okay.
So it's that might be partially why it melded with you so well. It's also a curious spirit. All
That's
right.
good.
And as you get inside the room, you see that there are several other priests and priestesses around the room, and they are standing in front of a buffet table of various foods. And you all have a very nice little gathering and party, and some time to talk about future endeavors. So I think we will take a quick break, and we will come back in just a few minutes, maybe around 8:05 to 8:10, and continue from there.
So do be patient for us, darlings. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone, to Nightsky Sanctum session 15, and our last session of the year. So, we are currently at a feast with the Scarlet Incarnation. Their new contact, Azra, has been excited that the spirit residing in their statue found them all worthy to enter the temple. So she's congratulating you. And you notice that there is a theme to the questions that you are being asked by the priests and priestesses, and they seem to revolve around the brutality that your coven has inflicted on those who have gotten in your way. They don't seem to be judging you for it. They are very interested in your brutality, so apparently your reputation for brutality has preceded you.
I have to imagine we'll end up telling the story involving the Jesus impersonation and the poisoned communion wine a few times this evening.
By the end of this, I'm sure they'll also understand how strange you all are, in addition to brutal. But you do notice that over the course of the evening, Rikers Island gets brought up multiple times, and Seth is dragged into more than one conversation in which the Scarlet Incarnation members mention that they have witches that are imprisoned there, that they are interested in getting justice for or breaking out of Rikers Island. One in particular that they mention is a shapeshifter by the name of Fera, Fera, who has been imprisoned there for 2 years.
Do we know who's imprisoning them? Is it the Order, primarily?
Yeah, the Order via the Red Watch. So the Red Watch, who you have recently come up against toe-to-toe, as they came to tackle the Fae that were with in the Krampus episode, the Fae that had summoned Krampus. The Red Watch came, and it was the first time you've ever seen them come to a situation that wasn't Wild Witch related. But it was enough to scare you all off of the place.
Enough to capture Krampus.
Yeah.
They got lucky.
We're not lucky enough they didn't catch you, Gryla.
All right. Yeah, that is a immensely replayable episode. If you go back to episode 14, it's that was a fantastic undertaking there. Or I guess it was an undertaking, but yeah, Krampus, very interesting introduction atop a flaming building, courtesy of Hollis. But all the kids got away safely, so.
Well, they didn't get
Missing
away.
some of their
We got them back.
Safely.
Safer.
So it
I mean, they
looks
still have to go
like,
home to release. So.
yeah. So it looks like they would probably be willing to pay you if you want to negotiate with them, if you all were to do an undertaking to Rikers Island. This would be a good way to get some kind of payment for it.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or two fish, one hook, since it's Seth's plan, really.
And
Seth doesn't know if they find that remark offensive.
Ribbit probably does, but Seth's not the brightest.
So, is there anything in particular you would want that you would like to negotiate with them for? Or do you want to sort of make any promises to them about what you can or can't do with regards to some kind of prison break?
Promises?
Well, our coven is in the pursuit of knowledge. Is there any kind of... I mean, we're already here with
We're here for
Elizabeth's
knowledge.
Maybe we can make a study contact for Elise.
Yeah, so Azra will definitely count as a coven contact for the purposes of gaining additional information. Rikers Island isn't known for housing any artifacts, so making that a primary reason for going there definitely wouldn't work out.
Can't our undertaking.
And it might not be a favored undertaking, but that doesn't mean it's not one worth doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Especially if we can get them to teach us some secrets about blood magic in return.
Yeah, that could be a good starting point for negotiations if you feel like you can if you feel like you could break out Farah.
I mean, Seth has in their beliefs that things don't belong in cages. They already want to do this prison break regardless. So it's like, let's put one
Nice.
person to the roster.
Yeah. And technically now that counts as something hidden. So using that as your sort of target will get you an extra die on at least 3 rolls during the undertaking. Or up to 3 rolls.
Pardon me, sorry.
And we don't really want to see witches in cages anyhow.
No.
Unless they're in our cages.
That's happened once or twice.
To be fair, he didn't have legs, so the cage wasn't doing much.
Yeah, the cage wasn't that useful. Okay, so Elise, do you want to take point on negotiations then?
Oh yes, I'm so good at negotiating. Actually not. I'm just good at telling people what to do.
So
But
I can run through the potential things that you could get, but the idea for teaching you some specifics when it comes to blood magic would definitely count. So here's what I have listed for payouts. Enchanted items, a particular spell work, so them casting a certain spell for you that maybe you don't normally have access to. And particular charms that they could create for you. They could teach you a new lesser ritual, give your coven an asset or a personal asset, give you a new contact. So those are the lowest level things they could give you. Give you a mythical component, like the kind that's required for Seth's new ability.
Seth has a new ability. How exciting.
We're still working on it. We're still workshopping
Working out the key.
Fine Coven asset. So this is a higher level. Would be a Coven asset that effectively counts as 1 tier higher than your Coven. A status increase. So they see you in greater favor. That would be the Scarlet Incarnation. although they could give you an in with other places to raise your status with them potentially. Then the highest level things are particular artifacts of various tiers, teaching you a greater ritual, giving you or making it possible for you to get a certain coven upgrade, or giving you a new expert that you can add to your coven.
So if we were to say that our primary interest in trading is some knowledge with regards to blood magic, what would that fall under, perhaps?
I think that would probably be a coven contact that you can have, or maybe even a coven expert that can stay with your coven and give you blood magic related info quickly. So I guess it's, do you want a live-in blood mage that can assist you with things in your coven, or do you want someone that you can go to get information from quickly? So one would be obviously higher tier than the other.
Might be worth trying to push for that contact, the expert, rather.
Okay.
Especially if we're going into a prison, I mean.
Yeah.
The risk is astronomical. If we get caught, well, we'll be imprisoned as well.
Yeah. I think an expert as your primary payout would probably make a lot of sense, if that's what you're interested in.
We can always get some extra room for a live-in blood mage.
Yep.
Are we all in agreement on that?
I feel like that's the most useful thing we can get out of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a lot of useful artifacts here, but you don't have a lot of knowledge about what's available. However, that said, you can pretty much come up with anything you want, and we can figure out a way to work it into the story. So, if there was an idea you had, But we can come up with that later as well.
I can certainly think of hundreds of artifacts, but I don't think of any that would really compare with blood magic. At least, not with regards to my preferences.
So you're all pretty good with this idea in the abstract, and then one of the more inebriated priests lets slip that Farah is going to be moved to an order facility in the next week, and so it is important that this would be taken care of sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Well,
Alrighty.
then it seems we're going to Rikers sooner rather than later.
Do you want to do any kind of gather information with them on any information about Farah and things related to this prison break? I know Seth also has a contact in place currently, a captain of the guard that is willing to be very helpful. So basically we can do more gather info here, back at the Covenstead, or out and about in the world as needed. But is this something you're interested in taking on within that time frame?
They could give us something of Farah's so we could do right at the Daglock, so we could find her in the prison quickly and easily, more easily.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say no role needed for that. Farah was one of their priestesses, so they have her old robes And let's see. What would be a good symbolic weapon for a group of assassins?
Sickle.
Maybe. Huh?
A sickle.
A sickle? So maybe a sickle that they wear on a chain. So they have Farah's sickle.
Okay.
What color or what type of metal?
Nice silver, like, the moon.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like a very thin balsamic moon on a chain. Okay. That sounds great. So that's what they're able to hand off to you.
Okay.
I was thinking for the captain of the guard, we can either do that as flashbacks or potentially a way to get you in.
Okay.
So basically, you made friends with them over a decent amount of time in the last several months, and they're sort of waiting for your call because they're willing for this to be the last thing they do before they retire.
Mm.
Okay.
Do we have a name for your captain of the guard?
I don't believe we made a name.
Okay. Let's
I
do
think we just did
Clark.
Clark.
Clarke. Captain Clark. We've watched too much Riverdale, so the alliteration has just gone off the deep end.
Alliteration always makes everything better.
All right. So, Rite of the Daglock is going to give you +1 die when you do your engagement roll, but if we can include the captain in there, we can get an extra die as well. So, do you want to do a quick gather info from the captain and see if there's a way they can figure out to get you in?
I think that makes sense. At least give us a rundown of like the floor plan, maybe other guard shifts, that kind of thing.
Okay. Let's do, let's see. He's completely on your side, so he's willing to tell you anything, more or less. So let's just do a 2-die fortune roll, just to see if something is coming up in the next week that might be particularly helpful.
They're moving Krampus in.
Bad results out of 2.
Say it again?
Bad result out of 2.
Okay. All right. So nothing is particularly going well for you. There's no, parades or holidays or anything that are happening in which there will be, fewer guards on staff or anything like that. However, he does have some general things that he can do to help get you in. So one of those would be there is a bridge that goes, the Rikers Island Bridge, that goes from the mainland to Rikers Island. Of course, to get across there, you're going to need somebody on the inside, which is where he comes in. So, even with his help, well, he thinks he could get you in, but he doesn't have a lot of room in a truck because any space that's large enough for a person to fit in is going to be searched. So fitting your familiars is not going to be a problem at all. But unless you can shapeshift yourself to be smaller, or something of that nature, you won't be able to fit in through his way. Basically get you on like a laundry truck or something like that.
Okay.
I guess they don't do visiting hours.
No, it's far more hardened criminals that they keep there. No conjugal visits.
I'm wondering if I could just... How are we getting access to this vehicle? Is he driving us in?
Not personally, but one of the people he trusts is going to be the driver.
Is the space large enough for Hollis?
So I'm just wondering if I
size.
impersonate someone and sit in the passenger seat, then we don't have to worry about a space for me in the back of the truck.
Yeah, I would say it's big enough for like 2 Hollises.
Okay.
And then, yeah, if you did something like that, yeah, he could probably get you an extra uniform or something. Or knock out another guard and give you their clothing and let you
Or I could
impersonate them.
just be a splattered bug on the windshield.
Yeah. So
that's only 2 of us.
I'm sure I can find a way in. Just
Yeah.
walk in the front door.
As someone that you've taken over?
No. Much smarter than that, darling. I'll find someone, put an astral spirit inside them, and then have them handcuff me falsely and walk me right in the door.
Okay. So
That will go very poorly, I'm sure, but the plan is so...
yeah. So it sounds like what kind of job is that? Is that going to be social or deception?
Which are the... I assume it's mostly going to be stealth, but I suppose deception is going to have to start us off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the only one that I think is going to the engagement role is going to affect is going to be Elise's deception. I think the rest of you should be able to get in without any trouble. So, based on what you've already come up with. So, right. What is your... So the method is deception and the detail is
An angle. So I guess the angle would be the handcuffs.
yeah, imprisonment,
Mm-hmm.
self-imprisonment. Okay. All right, let me run down the engagement roll and make sure that we have the right amount of dice. Okay. All right. 1 die for sheer luck. 1 die for each major advantage. You have the captain working on your side. You have a solid plan for Seth and a solid plan for Hollis.
This last solid plan for me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna count that as -1 die though, because basically that's what's gonna help determine the position you're in when you get going. Let's see. We have +1 die for the right of the Daglock. So we're up to 5 dice now. And then, is this an area that they are particularly well protected from? I'm gonna say yes, it is. You're basically walking in the front door. Although you've made some really good plans, so I think that's what we're gonna start with. So 4 dice engagement roll is extremely solid. That's a critical success. So well done. So I think what happened here, you're gonna bypass the first issue, and you're going to bypass the first obstacle, and you're gonna start in a controlled situation. So I think what that looks like is you all do exactly what you had prepared. The driver has been astrally taken over by an astral entity of your choice, Elise. So if you want to choose the type of spirit that's helping you.
I must admit, actually, I'm still unsure of the flexibility of all that.
Yeah, it's any sort of human concept. So love, lust, wrath, envy. Yeah. Yeah, and you could probably find some spirits of duty. Is that what you said?
Yes, well, he would be doing a duty as a guard, and
Yeah.
now he's doing his duty for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's dutiful.
So the driver is inhabited by a spirit of duty. Gotta be careful saying that. And Elise is in cuffs in the passenger seat. Seth is shapeshifted into a small enough animal that you can more or less go through unnoticed. All the familiars are easily hidden. And Hollis, what was your plan?
I'm hiding in the back of the truck.
That's right, and hiding as the captain set up. So, all right, you all arrive, and they immediately tell you this is not the right way to bring in prisoners. This isn't how you go about that at all. And just as they're about to start reprimanding you, you see another truck coming up from behind you, and it's not slowing down. And they immediately usher you into the front area, the lobby, so they can get you taken care of and safe. And the other guard unloads the box with Hollis in it, and dives for cover just as the other truck rams into the back of the truck that you were in, causing them both to go up in flames and providing you all an excellent distraction. And you see the captain in a mask, dressed as a bank robber costume.
Wearing a rubber Morningstar mask.
Waddle out of the car and then just dive off the side of the bridge. out of the burning wreckage of the truck that he just crashed. And all the other guards come rushing out of the front of the building and just pass all of you by as you all walk into the completely cleared out lobby. And you break open the container that Hollis is in, and the three of you are ready to go.
Great.
And as ready to go as we can be without alcohol. I don't think I'm going to find anything to drink in here.
I don't know. You can probably find some good toilet wine.
Yes,
Mm.
I'd rather be sober.
Thank you all so much for the resubscriptions. I can't believe it's been an entire month
I know.
since we started getting our first subscription. So thank you all so much for that. Very exciting. All right. Like I said, it's cleared out in the lobby. You have free access to the next area, which is sort of the main floor. You already have blueprints and everything of the area ahead of time, so from the captain. So whatever you want to go searching for, you're ready to go.
I'm just curious because it's a witch's prison. Are
It
there like metal detectors and things in the front, oh my gosh, technology or electric things we need to be worried about at the entrance to actually get through?
There are mostly actually mechanical. This is a really old prison that has been like retrofitted to be an anti-witch or a witch containment facility. But as far as the bulk of the main floor goes, it's all very mechanical, and it looks a lot like what you would expect a regular prison to look like.
So what are the
Okay.
means they use to keep witches from using their abilities?
So that's something that we would probably need to do a roll for you to get some information on. So
Okay.
we could do like flashbacks or anything like that.
Certainly worthwhile knowledge to have.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to have to contend with it.
Yep. So who wants to lead a flashback like that?
Well, I have no study, so I'm not the best one to do that.
Well, command, sway, and there are many other actions that you could use. And of course, making use of a contact for extra dice, also exceptionally useful. So basically think of how you would go about it, and then just let me know, and we'll figure out how much willpower it'll cost.
I could lead such a flashback. I suppose it would have been something that I would have asked someone at the Scarlet Incarnation when they were suggesting we go in there. I'm sure they know
Yeah.
a thing or two. Otherwise, they would have rushed in already, done this themselves.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and since you have a Coven contact already for that, I'll give you an extra die. What do you want to use for that?
I don't know if it would necessarily be a social thing, because I'm sure they would be moderately forthcoming with knowledge. So I suppose maybe study for understanding of it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
So they want us to succeed here.
Sure. All right. +1 die, and you can make that roll.
And well,
And that's going to cost 0 willpower, because, yeah, I think you're right. That's a obvious flashback.
Yeah.
right. It's a partial success at a 4.
Okay. So you've heard of multiple different things that people have used to deter witches. usually the ones that are here haven't been bound against their will. So you have heard of, let's see, that the cells that are out here on the main floor are not equipped for dealing with witches with any particularly useful powers at getting them out. So you're going to have basically witches that have exhibited wild magic, but don't seem to have any really easy ways of getting out of bonds, are kept out here on the main floor. So shifters and arcanists and probably a lot of other, probably anyone that has an actual grimoire is definitely kept separately and in a much more harsh situation of bondage. Which would include things like handcuffs. They have to be tailored to the individual. So there are some witches that might be in muzzles. There are others that might be in straitjackets that are literally, hold their arms behind their back. It very much depends on the casting style of the individual witch.
So what you're saying is these are all SCPs.
It probably could look a lot like that if more SCPs were humanoid.
Well,
Okay.
we knew where Farah is. Yes.
You have an item that is pulling you. I assume maybe Hollis has that is pulling you in the direction of Farah.
Perhaps we should beeline there before the incident outside is dealt with and we have to deal with more guards.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is definitely taking you out onto the main floor. So the first thing you'll have to deal with is a very solidly locked main entrance gate that is currently locked and closed, but there are no guards at the booth. There's like an interior glass window area, and all of those guards ran off past you. So they are currently not in their booth watching that main door.
I
Or that
assume
main
that you
gate.
can push a button, open the door.
From the inside, yeah. But from where you're at, there's no buttons or anything.
I'm like in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
Well, that seems like a rather straightforward problem to have. Seth, surely you can shift into something. Well, you're
Well, if I'm
probably
still
ready
small
something.
from being a bug on a windshield, I could. Is it possible? Is there any room for me to slide under this door, or is it like
Yeah.
fairly flush?
What form are you in right now? Or what form would you like to be in?
I'd like to still be a bug. I thought I was on the windshield, so maybe that beetle again.
Okay. Yep, absolutely. You find yourself completely able to slip through the gaps between the door and the wall and get into the office area.
Okay.
You can see that there are a bit more electronics inside here than what's outside, but it seems pretty straightforward as far as this button definitely opens this door and this button definitely sets off some big alarms, that kind of thing.
The big red "Do not press" button.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess I probably can't push the button, being a bug. So.
That would be difficult.
Way less than a feather.
Mm-hmm. So,
Well, apparently, they weigh less than a feather, even in their normal form, according to the snapshot.
I'm trying to see if I have the name written anywhere. I think I removed it because he ended up being a figment that Roger made. But am I able to use? Would it be possible for me to do that form of that carny?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I don't know if they would know who Tina is, but I don't think that'd be safe anyway, considering she's dead.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I just made peace with her, piss her off again. But
Yeah, so-
that'd be kind of an inconspicuous person to be there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you turn into a chain-smoking carny that you met previously, and make sure you've got the right button, and you hit it, and you hear a loud buzzing noise and a big mechanical cha-chunk as the gate that Hollis and Elise are standing in front of unlatches and starts rolling open.
Let's get in the door.
Yes.
All right.
I guess now that I'm not tiny at this point, I will take Ribert back from Hollis.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So following the spell effect, okay. Probably need to make some kind of roll for that. And it might be best to do this as a group so that you all get the benefit.
Right.
So Hollis would make the most sense, unless you want to hand the sickle off to someone else for you to lead some kind of search and rescue.
Yeah. If we're following the magic on this pendant, I'm thinking maybe a focus roll to tune into the magic really well to get where we need to go.
Yeah, that sounds good. Group roll.
Sounds special. That way, if one of us buggers us up terribly, we might
gonna
succeed.
This would
Sorry, it's
We're
a
gonna-
group roll on what? What did we decide?
Focus.
Focus.
It's okay. Sorry.
And Hollis is leading, so that's one willpower to lead it.
Oh, mine was a failure.
Mine was a 4. So only one failure.
So that's one extra willpower that it costs Hollis.
Okay.
And what was the total result? The best result?
4.
Okay. All right. So I think the guards start filtering back in from the outside as they realize we don't need 30 people handling this. We can probably have 5 or 10 people handle it. And so there's going to be like an influx of additional guards. So that's going to bring it up to risky again.
Okay.
But you are able to find your way around and up a level, and then back down a level, and then down another level, and you come to a high security area that has another door that is locked. You've passed several other guards at this point, but you've been able to evade them. That was yeah. So basically you're focused on the item and working your magic with it in the shadows, and then moving from one group of shadows to another, and then working some magic and moving on, and it goes like that for probably about 20 minutes or so until you make it to this door and you're like, you've taken every avenue to shorten the amount of time it would take, and you are definitely going to have to get through this door before you can go any further.
Is there another control room?
Not one that's immediately visible, like directly attached to it like it was previously. There might be one, but you'd have to search it out.
I don't imagine lock-picking a door like this would exactly work out very well.
It could. It's a much newer door. So.
Shall we attempt to pick the lock then?
Yeah.
We can attempt to pick the lock, and then if that doesn't work, I have dire form, so I could attempt to just bash the door down. It's not very sneaky.
Let us try the stealthy approach first, before we try guns blazing.
Who's going to pick the lock, and is someone going to assist?
Whoever does, I'd be happy to assist, or I could do it.
I only have 3 ticks of willpower left, so I don't think I should be leading.
My goodness, darling, we just
You're
begun.
already.
Well,
You should.
Were
do
we
that.
supposed
Oh,
to empty out from last
Yes, we
session?
restarted.
Oh,
willpower, essence,
Get
and
rid of
heart.
it all.
okay, then never mind. Okay, yeah.
We're fresh and bright-eyed.
I was checking everyone else's sheet this morning, and then I realized now that I was checking the old sheets. Okay. Yeah, then I can lead for doing lockpicking if we want to do that.
Okay.
And I'll offer an assist as well.
That'll give you an extra die for 1 willpower from Elise.
Okay.
Study the look and nag over your shoulder.
What do you want to use, Seth?
Lockpicking, maybe focus.
Usually it's under finesse.
Under finesse,
So you
okay.
get it? Yeah, it's manual dexterity. Focus would be more of if you had like a spell that unlocked doors.
Okay, well, I have equal in finesse, so that would give me 3
Nice.
with the extra dice from Elise, so we'll give that a go.
Nice.
Partial success out of 5.
Okay. So, I think you are working your way on those pins, and you hit one, and you start to hear this like electric, magnetic, like buzzing noise. And you think that you hit a pin that has an alarm on it or something. And you're worried that if you keep pressing on, finishing up unlocking this door, that there's a chance you might set off a silent alarm. There's also a chance that you might have already set it off, but you're not sure.
Because it's a manual lock, are we able to freeze the mechanism?
There's only one way to find out.
That could also set off an alarm.
Okay, that's true.
I think at this point we're going to set off an alarm.
Yeah.
But we'll say you got reduced effect as the consequence, rather than actually setting off the alarm. So if you want to resist that, you can push through and finish it, or you could just make another finesse roll.
I will try another finesse roll.
Okay.
But I will pop 2 willpower for myself.
Okay.
Oh. It's not. There we go. I wasn't clicking. Do that again. Complete success out of 6.
Okay. So you avoid that pin that's like right in the middle of all the other pins, and you hear a click as the lock tumbles open, and you have access to a much cleaner ward of the prison than the rest of the area. And as you do, you see two statues, one on the left side wall and one on the right side wall, that both look like Red Watch armor. It looks like they've just put Red Watch armor on some dummies or something.
I'm gonna have Aran keep an eye on those.
Okay. Just like hop out into the hall and...
Yeah, just watch those things, just in case.
Okay.
Feel like that's bad news waiting to happen.
On that note, don't know if I'd be able to do this, but could I potentially use my grimoire sense to see if there's anything to them?
Grimoire sense, like...
Well, I can sense, I can check and see whether it's a saint or a witch or a fae or something actually astrally present within that.
Okay. Actually, on your news sheet, there's a slight redefinition of how the Grimoire sense work, but I think it still works for what
The
you're trying
astral
to do.
vibe check.
Astral vibe check. So yeah, this will give you an idea of sort of like the astral goings on. So like, are there minds here? And then you can look deeper into them to get more information about them. But yeah, I think that'll totally work. It sounds like this might be two separate actions, or do you want one of them to go first before the other? Like, do you want Ron to just sort of be backed up and wait there and
Yeah,
watch?
he's just watching to give me a
Okay.
heads up if they start moving around. He's just the watchdog owl.
Making good use of that swivel neck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so Elise, what do you want to roll for yours?
I suppose study would make sense if I'm trying to determine.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, you sort of shift your vision into the astral as well as you possibly can, and just sort of try to absorb a sense of the area. All right.
That's a partial success out of 4.
Okay. So, I think what that looks like is you are sensing a lot of powerful magical minds in the vicinity, and there's such an intense lack of astral anything out in this main hallway that it just it feels weird. Like it's an obscenely low amount of astral activity out here. But yeah, we'll just treat that as a gather information. So you can sense there are definitely powerful witches in many of these doorways that down the hall further, but definitely nothing astrally powerful out here.
Well, might be good for a Rob to keep an eye out, anyhow.
And these doorways seem to be solidly planted into the floorboards, so they're like, there aren't any gaps or anything between these doors.
So
This-
we're going to have to find a release mechanism.
Yeah. This is a much more recently built wing and much more technologically advanced than the rest of the place.
Little windows in them that you can open and close, or like it's like a solid door, like solitary confinement. Is that like
To feed them food through.
There aren't little windows, but there are food flaps,
okay?
and those are low enough that Hollis could potentially peer into them.
Okay.
You'd have to get down on the floor, but
Oh, the food flops are on the floor?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
No,
Is
let's put
there-
them up. Let's put them up higher than that. We'll say there's like a little
On
shelf.
this island.
Yeah, you push it through, and then there's like a little shelf for it to sit on.
Okay.
Ah.
Is there another control room that we can see?
Yeah, there is one from the inside here. There is one door that's significantly stronger looking, and it has a mag lock key strip type of thing, and it's a thicker door, and it doesn't have a food flap, so that's most likely the one.
Well, then perhaps we should try to clean that.
Yeah, if we can get in there, we might be able to open all the doors on this wing.
Maybe we can open all the doors in the bloody prison.
Yeah.
Would that be a treat?
There's a fire. All the doors have to open, right?
Well, that's in a humane prison. This is run by the Order.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I guess we make our way to this door.
Yeah.
All right, the little magnetic lock panel is already reacting to you being close to it. You can see it's sort of getting brighter and dimmer and flickering a little bit with all three of your energies interacting with it.
Oh, it's a magnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you melt a magnet, it loses its ability to be a magnet.
Yeah.
So if I could heat it up enough that it loses its magnetism, we might just be able to open this door.
Makes
You hear
sense.
that, juggalos? You need to be paying attention. This is how magnets work.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make a really intense but small fire.
Okay.
So I was thinking like maybe 2 to 3 essence to make it really hot, but very contained.
Okay.
Just a little blowtorch flame out of Hollis's finger.
Yes, blowtorch hands.
Okay, let me just get some quick info. There we go. All right. Okay. How many essence?
I was thinking 3.
Okay. All right. Is that
And then
a
focus roll.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do 2 willpower so I can have extra.
An extra die?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to say this is risky,
Yeah.
and the effect level is going to be greater effect.
Okay. Come on, 4 dice. I got a complete success out of 6.
Nice. All right, do you want
Perfecto.
to describe that?
Yeah. So Hollis rubs her hands together, gets them all nice and warm. She starts chanting in her goblin language, and her hands heat up to where they look like they're super white hot. And she puts her hands on the locking mechanism, and it heats up until it's also white hot and begins to melt.
I'm going to whip out a cigarette and light it. Stick
Light
it in
it
my
up.
mouth and just lean in very close.
It lights. It burns away about half the cigarette, but then it lights. And I think that this is going to leave a smell behind.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like like a penalty or anything, but I think it's going to leave behind an underworld smell, like sulfur or
Okay.
something, just because it is an underworld effect.
Yeah.
And you can hear people talking as soon as the magnetic strip loses its power or loses its because it did more than what you wanted. It's never going to work again. Like it's going to need to be. It's not just that you destroyed its ability to magnetize, but it was also so hot that it just burned through a lot of the like wiring and stuff. So the power to it is cut. So the door sort of starts to swing open from its own weight, and it opens inward, and you can see that there are a couple of guards in there, and they are trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and they're not getting anywhere near the door. And you all have like ducked back and away, so they don't see any of you, but they know something's up. So 2 Red Watch guards, and they're gearing up, putting on their helmets, things like that.
Shall we bait them out? Or simply rush in and take them out?
I think you have effectively already baited them out. If you just wait, they will be. So if you want to wait for them and ambush.
Yeah.
Seems like the
Ambush is probably good.
So just describe that and who's leading it. And
Although it would be kind of fun while my hands are still super red hot to run in there and grab somebody.
Oh, spicy.
yeah, I would give you increased effect on that.
They'll just run in and brawl somebody
Mm-hmm.
with my fire hands.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm gonna run in and go for whatever I can reach.
All right.
With a brawl. Let's see.
So they're in the process of trying to get their helmets on. So if you wanted to go for their faces, or at least one of them's face, otherwise, crotch is within reach.
Yeah.
I would like to offer an assistance by stepping right in the doorway, clear as day, and wearing, of course, this ridiculous gown that should not be present in a prison.
I'm gonna hype it up and show your legs.
And just saying, "Hello, boy!" as Hollis charges forward.
Goblin running in with flaming hands, and you step into the doorway.
Even better, you lift up the dress and Hollis comes running out from underneath. It's like, surprise!
Exactly like that scene in Everest New Groove. I hike up the corner of my dress and they get terrified until the goblin comes out.
Is that going to be a spring? I could see an assist with a spring, but maybe not with a brawl.
Let's see.
But I mean, you're going to get greater effect regardless.
Yeah.
Whichever you prefer, darling, I'm fine. Just waiting until you've maimed them if you'd like to just rush in by yourself.
Yeah. I guess I'll take the assist with the spring and I will spend 2 willpower. I have to write my willpower down because my dots aren't dotting properly.
Oh no. Having some weird issues with those character sheets. The checking and unchecking of the dots are being weird.
Okay, so do I get 2 dice
Mm-hmm.
for Elise's help?
Yep. Risky and increased effect.
I got a 3.
Okay. So with increased effect, okay. So, see, you can on a risky spring. On a 3. Things go badly. You suffer moderate harm, a complication occurs, or you end up in a desperate position, or you lose the opportunity. So I think partially you lose the opportunity as you're running in and getting ready to attack. The fire on your hands just burns out.
Okay.
So your hands go back to normal, and maybe you start sort of climbing up his armor and expecting it to like melt in your hands, and it just doesn't.
That certainly
And
paints a layer of this picture.
yeah, and he, the one that you're trying to climb up, just pushes you off of him to the ground. Not enough to hurt you, but he gets you completely off of him.
Okay.
Do you want to resist either of those things?
I was thinking I might resist being off of him so that I could then bite him in the face.
Okay. All right. I'd say a prowess resist would make the most sense there.
Okay. Let's see.
She's certainly the scrappy one.
I got a success. I spend no willpower. 6.
Nice. All right. So he tries to push at you, and you've got this tenacious grip on him that even though his armor's not melting like you had hoped, you're just climbing him and avoiding every time he tries to push you off. The other one gets his helmet on and pulls out a long electrified baton. But that one is going for Elise. So
Can I bite him?
yeah, you can bite the one that you're on easily.
Bite his nose clean off.
Yeah. Bite him right on the face.
All right.
Well,
We're in
the other one's
desperate.
going for Elise. I'm assuming I'm still on the other side of the door, so I'd like
Yeah.
to come in and attempt to do like a protect on Elise, but I have questions in regards to my shapeshifting.
Yeah.
Do I have to do it completely, or can I do just parts of my body?
It's normally your full body, but if you have a certain capability you want, we can probably figure out an animal that could make that work.
Just wondering if I could come in with just crab hands.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, let's just say you have to make a roll for it.
Okay.
That you can, but it just won't be a freebie like it usually is.
You
Okay.
fail, you'll get your tiny little crab hands. Sized crab.
All right.
Okay, so
This wouldn't really be a protect because there's not any. She's not resisting any consequences.
Okay.
But yeah, you can still take an action. So
okay. So how I do the roll then for this, just because it's not something typically
Yeah.
do for the shapeshifting.
It's up to you. I think it depends on how you sort of learned it or figured it out. I could see finesse. I could see study, depending on if you have been like trying to do this in the past, these partial transformations, and this is something you've like spent a lot of time.
Should that be something to do as like a training session before I
No.
attempt to do any of this?
No, we can just flavor the past.
Because I have been attacked by crabs in the past, and I did
You
already
have.
be a crab. So I've told a bunch of crabs to eat Roger's face.
Yeah.
So I think I have
I also
some
think-
affinity with crabs for now, but I'm not so sure about the half partial transformation part of that.
I also think focus would make sense since it's the special ability.
Okay. In that case, I'll give myself 2 more willpower. Nope, it's not. I'll try that again. But one went, but the other one didn't. So
For an extra die.
be Yeah, for an extra die. So it'll be 3. Partial success, 4, do at a cost.
Okay. Let's say one of your claws is like significant, meaty, vicious, and the other claw, not so much.
Lopsided.
Yeah.
Kind of how claws work. One of them's better than the other one.
Yeah. And let's see. So I think that would make sense for how they look. And as far as the partial, I'm gonna say the one that was going after Elise turns its attention to you. Because Elise doesn't look particularly magical, but you have just shapeshifted right in front of it, so you're the new target.
Okay.
Hollis, do you want to do your attack?
My brawl.
Yeah,
Right him in the face.
sounds good. She's a man-eater.
I got a partial success at a 5.
Okay, so do you want to describe that?
I'm gonna say that I go for his cheeks, like one of his cheeks, and just try to get a big chunk of cheek.
Mhm.
And I bite down really hard. I cause a lot of damage, but I don't like bite a chunk off. It's not as, satisfying as I was hoping it would be. He's in pain and he's gonna have a scar, but he's not gonna have to have reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, and I think he screams pretty loud.
Yeah.
Since his mouth is still there. He screams really loud, and we're gonna start clock, 6 clock. That's reinforcements,
Okay.
and we're gonna fill in 2 of that.
Okay.
So that's 2 out of 6. All right. Red Watch reinforcements. Do you want to resist any of that, or bring that clock down, or are you good with that?
I think I'm pretty good with that.
Okay. I think he is going to pass out from the pain.
Okay.
After a few moments of screaming.
Sure.
All right.
That's
So, Seth, you are now facing off against this gent in full Red Watch armor, and he has about I don't know, maybe a half a foot of reach on you with his baton versus your giant claw. So you're going to have to do something to sort of bridge the distance. Otherwise, he's going to get you with the baton before you can get close to him. So do you want to do something to bridge the distance, some kind of action, or do you want to resist the baton and then take an action?
I'm gonna take advantage of my. I don't know if I'm still the Carney at this point. So I was gonna say
Carney with crab claws.
Yeah.
we do say that I keep a part of my fishy self whenever I transform. So I'm gonna say I'm still slimy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna see if I can slide along the floor, do like a running like power slide, and see if I can like snip up at him.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you want to try to destroy the baton, the electrified baton, or do you want to try to snip at his arm or face or what?
Genitals.
Seth, the genitorturer.
Testicular torsion. I don't think I want to touch the baton with the technology aspect of it. I don't think that'll go well for me. But maybe let's go for his arm.
Okay. So you're going to disarm him by going directly for the arm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What do you
like
want to use
sliding
for that?
underneath and reaching. So I guess I'm kind of attacking him. So I would think that would be brawl, most likely.
Okay, that sounds good.
Because he's already on his way to me, so its brain doesn't really make sense,
Yeah.
I don't think.
It could. It's up to you. But I'm gonna say desperate and standard effect.
Okay. Try this. Oh, it's a failure at a 3.
Okay.
Should have done something.
This is the worst outcome. Suffer greater harm or greater complication, and you usually lose the opportunity for action as well. So I think you go for his arm, and you slash up, and you just ram right into that metal armor, sort of in his armpit. You clip into it, and you feel some of the underpinning of the armor cut. But he immediately turns the baton toward you and just tags you right in the shoulder with it. And you're going to be looking at level 3 harm, electroshock.
My goodness.
Okay.
Shocking.
It's going to make your whole left arm go completely numb.
You'd have just turned into an electric eel, darling. You would have been impervious.
You can resist that down if you.
I have enigmatic form.
Ooh.
So, am I able to
Yeah.
essentially do what Elise just said? Just electric eel now that I'm right in his arms.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an awesome use for enigmatic form. Do you want to describe that again to us? How you're going to do?
Yeah. So, after I'm pinching up into his armpit and I see I'm not getting any further this way,
Yeah.
I'm seeing him in my peripherals reach around to get to me. So I'm going to try to squish myself closer to him, give myself a little bit more room, and then transform while I'm essentially pressed up against his armor.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So I think that just costs 1 essence.
Yes. So I'm
And
just
are
trying
you
to.
just
I have to mark it
gonna
down
go?
because it's not taking from me.
Gotcha. You're just gonna go full body electric eel?
Yeah, I'm just going to go full
Okay.
bore.
Awesome.
That's
So
I'm
yeah.
like torso electric eel, crab hands, carny legs. Sure,
right.
why not? Like electric eel torso, just the weird, creepy face.
So I'm gonna say that we're gonna reduce that down from level 3 harm to level 1 harm,
Okay.
and that's gonna be yeah, it's
Like
more
a
just
stab now, or
the blunt force of the baton is really the only thing that's causing you anything. So
all right,
I do
blunt
imagine
force to
beating an
back,
eel
I guess.
control.
like a large bruise or something. But the electricity just goes right through your body and into him, and I'm gonna say it causes him to drop the baton and stumble backwards away from you. So he's almost down on one leg, and he's disarmed.
Alrighty.
All right, Elise Hollis.
I would like to possess the unconscious god with an astral entity of liberty.
Ah.
Mm.
Luckily, he's not unconscious yet. But he will be going unconscious from pain. So, but that's fine. They can.
Knock over the head and stuff with
They can. The spirits. They don't have to inhabit unconscious people. They just can. Yeah. It's basically removing that restriction from the other spell.
I see.
Yep. All right. So yeah. Let's do a roll on that because I think. Is there one on? Because
For the physical takeover itself, I believe is focus.
Yeah, that's the one we would use.
All right.
So it'd be focus and then 3 essence.
All right. Now I would love to use a little bit of willpower to push myself here.
Okay.
Give myself that extra little bit of advantage. It's a partial success at a 5.
Okay. You'll take over. You take over and control the Sape's body. Right, and then when using physical takeover, summon an astral entity with a purpose to ride your Sape, allowing the spirit to control the body when it goes unconscious. Alright. Spirit's actions are your Coven's tier -1. So, right now it's going to be, unless you want to spend some more essence.
I think I'll just go with Coven tier -1.
Okay. So
You're
you'll
gonna-
roll 1 die for any of its actions, but... Okay. And I think the spirit here is like... It's justice for sure, but it's like lethargic. It's slow justice. So I think that's what the little partial effect is. So however that ends up coming into play. But that one still has a working baton too.
And a chunk in its cheek. Well, no, its cheek is still intact.
Cheek is fine. Plus it still has a helmet that it can put on over its head. Alright. Yeah, so what does that look like when you put that in the guy?
Well, I sort of approach as Hollis is still gnawing away on his cheek, and I reach to caress the other cheek. He's getting a kiss on one side and a caress on the other. He's really quite a lucky man.
Lucky.
And his eyes sort of glaze over, and he is sort of still for a moment where he was otherwise, screaming as the spirit sort of takes over. The panic subsides.
His pupils go red, white, and blue. No.
I thought you were going to come in and burn him with your cigarette.
No. One of these gods could be of use to us. If this is the upgraded equipment, we're not going to be able to operate it. Not a safe.
All right.
So,
All right. The other guard that Seth was near is still conscious, trying to find another weapon to beat Seth with. So.
Seth is an eel flopping about on the floor.
I've got carny legs, crab arms, and like a weird floppy body that can't stand up.
So what do you want to do? Or do you want to let someone else tackle this other guard?
I think I have to change at this point because I don't have the body stability to like do anything other than flop over like a crazy person. So I'm gonna have to. I'll change back into just the carny, I guess, so I can have some kind of like spinal support.
Okay. I think changing into a person and being on the floor like that is definitely going to put you in harm's way for his improvised attack that he's going to make. So you'll need to resist him trying to hit you with his gauntleted fist.
Okay.
So if you want to use... oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, with... well, I guess it doesn't matter. With enigmatic form, it's like dire form. You don't... the assumption is you you shift into that form as it's needed, and then you shift back. But it's not like it costs you an action or anything anyway.
Oh,
So,
okay.
So yeah,
So I guess I just kind of revert back on the floor.
yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. I think a prowess resist would make sense.
Okay. You reduce or resist the effect and spend 1 willpower.
Okay.
That was a 5.
All right. He hits you with the gauntlet while your body is still an eel, and then you sort of roll away from him and shift into your human form again and get to your feet very quickly, and out
Since
of his
he
way.
still hit me, should I move my level 1 to level 2 for my back?
Nah. It's just another little bruise. Your form was enough to handle it.
Okay.
All right. All right, so you're back up on your feet. He is at a disadvantage to how how you are above him right now. So, what do you want to do with him?
So he's in like a crouched position on the floor after trying to smack into me, or
Yep.
am I able just to kick him in the face?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Roundhouse or
Don't know, but I will do just a regular brawl roll just to
Okay.
see if I can get him right in the teeth. That was a failure. I guess I
No
slip on the
failures.
floor and my own mucus.
Yeah.
A 3.
You. Yeah. I think that makes sense. You left a mucus trail on the ground, and you're not really used to kicking people. It's like you're used to. Usually, when you brawl people, you're a python.
It's like I'm jelly wrestling right now.
Yeah. I think you kind of slip and you step on um the the cattle prod, the baton, the stun baton, and when you step down on it, um something in it snaps and it breaks. And I think that releases energy from the battery, and electroshock goes through all the like slime that's on the floor, through you, and through the guard that's down here. So it
Okay.
basically like big electrical blast that knocks both of you back, and that's going to be level 2 harm exploded.
Exploded.
Just level 2 and exploded.
How about battery acid burn?
Okay.
Like, yeah, sprays battery acid. But it gets all over his armor, and he's like clawing at his armor and trying to scrape it off his face and pulling off melting skin, and within a short moment he's of writhing in pain on the floor. He's unconscious.
Well, you
We'll add
certainly
one,
least
made
there's
a
another
meal
one.
out of that.
and we'll add 1 tick to the reinforcements arrive clock.
Almost
That's fairly
darling.
generous considering how long I took there.
Can you be a dear and make sure that Seth is all right while I give our new friend some instruction?
Yeah, I'm gonna run over and pull Seth out of all of the slime puddle so that no more electric discharge could be a problem.
All right. Yeah, you two find like a big desk to sort of hunker down behind, and you check her over for wounds and everything. Elise, you want to command your automaton?
Well, I'm not commanding him. I'm giving him the opportunity to do what he does best. This is the spirit of liberty, after all.
It's true.
And he is sitting at a control panel,
Mm-hmm.
which is preventing so many innocents from their liberty. All he need do is press the right buttons and free all of these people from tyranny.
Okay. Let's do one die fortune roll.
Right. He's going to press the wrong button, isn't he?
Chances are
He is. It was a 3.
okay. I don't think it's I don't think it's quite so bad, but he does open all of the doors on the hall, rather than any particular door, and he also manages to add the last 3 ticks to that reinforcements arrive clock by pushing some of the wrong buttons as well. Would you like to resist part of that?
I
Because
would, although I'm not entirely certain how we would go about resisting.
maybe you jump in the way and prevent him from
I
hitting
see his
some of the
hand
buttons.
going for a red button, and I try
Yeah.
to move quickly enough.
I think that would be an insight resist.
An insight. To have the good sense to not press the red button.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see if I resisted successfully. Actually, 3 times instead. It is a success, but I spend 1 willpower.
Okay. All right. So you end up having to push his hand away from pushing the wrong button several times. There are lots of wrong buttons. But it looks like just the act of opening all these doors still was enough to sort of set off some not alarms, but basically there's still 1 tick left on the clock. So you reduced it from 3 down to 2. But it basically there's an AI controlling the prison, and when it sees certain things happening, like all the doors on a wing being opened at once at a time that they're not scheduled to, it sort of raises the alarm, but it hasn't got to the point where it's gonna actively say there's definitely trouble here because of your resist.
All right. Well, then we have a moment.
Yep.
So what's the person's name we're looking for?
Farah.
Farah.
So I'm going to pat the individual in the back, and I'm going to tell them to just start running through the rooms, dismantling any security they can.
Okay.
For any witches.
All right, let's do another fortune roll then. 1 die.
All right. And hopefully we can fill this place with horrible criminal witches who all want to kill the Order. No, that's a 3 as well.
Okay. Do you go with it into the first room?
I would say no, because I want to go immediately check on Seth.
Okay. You hear a blood-curdling scream come from the guard, and you smell burning flesh coming from the first room.
Oh dear.
Just as you're stepping into the second room.
Oh,
Do you
that's reassuring.
turn around instantly, or go ahead and check out your room first?
Check out the room first. If he
Okay.
dies, he dies. Assuming he's already dead.
Yeah. Okay, so this room has what looks like an Iron Maiden in it. It's a large open cell. It didn't have a flap on the door, or it did, but it was just covered in dust. It hadn't been used. And inside this room is a Iron Maiden that's about 7-ish feet tall. Looks like it's made of solid metal, and has some runes inscribed on the side where a locking mechanism is.
Well, do we have any notion of whether this is the room that the Rite of the Dagger is leading us towards, or is this just a potential witch that we could rescue?
Do you want to do a quick flashback that you grabbed that sickle from Hollis before you headed in here?
Oh, well, I was intending to be more or less staying with Wallace and Seth.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I assumed when you mentioned this room that it was right next to where they were.
Gotcha. Well, if they want to be in there with you, that's
Yeah.
fine. Good?
Yeah.
I'll just be holding out the daglock and kind of just
Okay.
going wherever it leads.
Did Hollis lose their illusion headpiece with the troll instant, or do we have that back?
I thought we got it back.
Yeah, you got it back.
Potentially.
Is there any illusion magic happening?
Wow. Everybody, it's just nonstop threes. Okay.
We got all the good rolls out in the beginning.
Yeah.
Apparently.
No illusion magic.
Okay.
You also notice that there are runes inscribed over the eyes of the Iron Maiden. And as far as the daglock goes, the daglock is you're having a hard time sort of standing still. I think a bug just flew in my mouth.
Oh no.
My goodness, it's the mummies all over again.
So you're like really having a hard time like actively focusing on the daglock and really getting a good read on where it's pulling. Because your heart's beating fast and all this stuff that just happened, and so yeah, you're just not getting any good information from it right now. But maybe if you went back out into the hallway and took a minute to pause and like focus, you might be able to get some good information out of it.
I think we should have the human person open this one.
He's burned, I assume.
Yeah, nobody's gone into the room one to check
Is he
on
dead?
it. But
Probably.
he
At least there's the
screamed.
passed out one on the floor.
He
'Cause if he's
screamed.
dead.
The acid burns on his face.
Yeah, he screamed. You smelt burning flesh coming from that room, and then he stopped screaming. And he at least lost their connection with the spirit of justice.
That doesn't sound very reassuring.
Oh no! Oh yeah, no. Okay, I was gonna say, but that's not a result of him dying. So you're like, this was more than him dying, because the spirit should have maintained its hold regardless of whether he was alive or dead, but it didn't. So either he might still be alive, because this is unusual.
Well, we might want to go see what that's all about before we go any
Yeah.
further.
Let's take a peek.
All right. You peek back into the other room. It's another similar shaped Iron Maiden, but with completely different runes all over it. No runes on the eyes of this one, but there are runes where there's like an Iron Maiden. It's the shape of a human, and the hands are what have runes all over them on this Iron Maiden. And you see the still shuddering corpse of this guard on the floor in a heap. He looks like he burned completely through his so it's basically armor on the floor, and you that's all you can see, but the smoke coming off of him leads you to believe that there isn't much body left in that armor. That something burned him very thoroughly.
Oops. Is there enough body to animate?
I'm gonna say since it was enough to effectively banish the spirit of justice, then probably there isn't enough left. However, the lock on this one is open. So
I'm gonna hold up the daglock and just hope that this is the right person.
all right.
Seems
Roll
unlikely.
roll a fortune die.
A fortune die. Alrighty. Let's see. I got a 4.
So it's not this one, but you do
Okay.
know the exact room now. It
Okay.
is what would be room number 4 as far as how we're counting them off so far.
Well, while we're here,
May as well open this one.
but perhaps before we approach, we should inform the individual within that we are here to break them out of jail, whomever they may be, that they probably shouldn't set everyone on fire until the guards stop showing up.
I'm
Okay.
gonna set all the guards on fire.
All right. Okay. So who is physically opening this one? Or I'm sorry. So you speak that in, you hear a muffled response, but it's impossible to make out the words. It sounds like a woman's voice.
I'm going to assume agreement because those are rather rational terms. And I suppose I will attempt to open it.
All right.
Probably not by grabbing the hat.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, there was a clasp that was basically holding. There's a handle and a clasp, and the clasp has been unlocked. So there's a handle there, and you grab it, and this thing is extremely heavy, but you are able to pry it open, and no more magical effects, activate or anything, and you can see a 5'2" tall woman inside the tomb with wearing prison clothes and with some kind of cloth stuffed in her mouth.
Well, that would explain the muff. Well, even though it's probably risky to do so, we're not going to have very much chaos here if we don't take a few risks.
Yeah. You see that there are straps running across her body holding her in.
Well, perhaps we should just start by unmuzzling her,
Okay.
assuming that's going to make her able to cast spells, but again, I am looking her directly in the eye and making it very clear to her that I trust her desire to get out of here is stronger than her desire for wanton violence.
Yeah, you don't look like a guard or anything, so so that sounds like maybe a command roll.
I think so. Tell
You
her to be
do.
good.
Command, consort.
I'm just telling her to be a good girl. And it's a partial success at a 5.
Okay.
So she's
So-
not a really good girl.
I think
She nips
based
your
on
fingers.
what's that?
She nips her fingers.
Nips?
Taking like the cloth.
So I think what this looks like is she kind of has crazy eyes, and you're talking to her, and the crazy eyes don't really go away at first. So you're, you have to sort of give her a little bit more of a push and be a little firmer, and then slowly the crazy eyes start to go away, and you're like, okay, I think I can get this out of her mouth without getting bit. So we're gonna do the final tick on that clock as the partial consequence.
Good job.
But you're able to get her out. She tells you her name is Lissa, and she steps out. She's very shaky, wobbly. She probably hasn't got to use her legs very much for quite a while, based on how much she's sort of wobbling. And she's like, you don't have to worry about me using any magic. The stuff they use to bind this Iron Maiden is so potent. I don't know if I'll be able to cast again.
Oh, don't be so downhearted, darling. You can recover. And you're going to have to. Because things might get messy here very quickly and very soon.
She sheds a tear and sort of hangs onto your arm as she tries to walk and get out of the room that she's in.
All right, well, I'll play mother to her for a moment if someone wants to check the next room.
You help her step over the smoldering corpse of the guard. And
go to room 4.
Yeah, so I think we'll head to room 4 next, and we're going to take a quick break right before that. So we will be right back. And welcome back to Nightsky Sanctum Session 15. The group is just about to head into what we're calling room number 4 to hopefully get Farah and save Farah from the Red Watch and get out of here relatively unscathed. We'll see. Farah's door is unlocked, as the rest are. So Hollis is leading the charge. All right. Hollis, as soon as you push the door open, you see an immediate and immense lack of Iron Maiden in here. The room looks to be nearly empty. However, there is a small 2-inch by 2-inch by 2-inch cube that is metal with rivets all over it, that is sitting in the middle of the floor of this room. And there are runes on every side.
Ant farm prison.
Yeah.
Shall we pick it up and shake it like we did with the last box we found?
Can I tell what any of the runes are?
Yeah, you want to study them?
Yeah, let's do a study really quick.
Maybe a survey then?
Survey?
Yeah,
Sure.
if you're trying to do it real fast.
Yeah.
Okay. There will be a hidden bonus to you deciding to do it very, very fast. That I cannot tell you about. Basically, we're holding back on that clock.
I rolled a 1.
Okay, well, on the positive side, you get a experience point.
Oh.
In whatever it was that the attribute you were rolling under.
Okay.
All right, that was a survey.
Yeah.
Aran immediately starts making the loudest owl noises it possibly can.
He is a screech owl.
As the Red Watch armor that was standing directly in front of him has started moving, and its right eye is glowing red.
Okay.
All right.
Will mentally let everyone know that the armor is awake.
All right. I think Aran is going to need to make a resist roll to get out of harm's way.
Okay.
So, would you like to do prowess resist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. He did not. That is a 3.
Okay, well, it just costs you 3 willpower.
3 willpower. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So, he is successful. He takes flight just as the mouth of the helmet opens and a circular, gun barrel comes out of it and fires something at him, and he flies and just narrowly avoids it, and flies down the hall. Does he go into the room that you're in?
Yeah.
For safety? Okay. And then the armor steps down off its pedestal, and the armor across from it begins to activate.
Okay.
Yeah, the Curse of Threes continues. All right. So, and I think also that door that you came in through, not the one that you melted, but the door that you came through before that.
Yeah.
How did you guys get through that door?
We
Lockpick.
lockpicked it.
Okay. Metal shafts come down in front of and behind the door, sealing it. So There are now, like, bars barring that door.
I'm gonna grab this box off of the floor.
Okay.
Just snatch it and throw it in my pocket.
Okay. If you're not doing anything else, I think
You're
you're
going to stop Hollis from doing that, because that seems like a bad idea.
So you're gonna need to immediately make a resist roll, and I think this would be resolve,
Resolve.
unless someone else wants to jump in and protect her. Because if she spends another willpower, she's traumatized.
Yes, I will step in and, again, try to stop her from touching it. Guess I will reach for it myself, perhaps.
Okay. Does that sound good? Are you willing to allow that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to be your resolve resist then, and you spend 1 willpower to get in her way.
All right. Goodness. 1 willpower is getting a little bit high as well now, but not near as bad as yours. Right. So I should take the resolve roll then.
Yeah.
That is a complete success with no willpower spent.
Okay.
Wow. Nice.
So, I think what that looks like is you knock the box out of her hands just as her fingertips have touched it. And when the box rolls on the floor, you see this massive gout of flame fire out from the edge of the box. But because it's rolling at the time, it sort of spins and just etches fiery mark into the walls until it comes to rest. So the fire misses both of you, and the box.
Then
Yeah.
it would have carved a perfect hole in the side of the prison for us to just escape.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, the windowless room is now, smoking a bit as the cement on the walls has been etched. But it but yeah, it basically rolls like a 6-sided die across the floor, and comes to rest.
I'm going to side-eye Hollis for a second.
Seth, you have the best view of what's happening down the hallway. The suits of armor are marching down the hall, and peeking in all of the doors, and then continuing to march down the hall toward you all. In the hallway, there were 2 additional doors further down the hall, and then at the very end of the hall, there was a tiny window. It's got wire mesh in front of it, and it looks like it's small enough that, like, a squirrel could fit out of it if you got rid of all the mesh.
Okay.
Well, thankfully, squirrels have sharp teeth.
So the room that we were in already was the room that was closest to where the statues were, and then there's room 2, 3, and Hollis and Elise are in room 4.
So it was 2 statues, room 1 and room 2, room 3 and room 4, room 5 and room 6, and then the window.
So am I just outside of room 4? And I have the
You're kind of
guards?
peeking around the corner into the hallway of room from room 4 into the hall.
In that case, I will stay and dip around that corner to go into either 5 or 6, whatever one's on that side, and see if I can potentially get someone else involved that might be able to help us.
Sure. Okay, and Lissa is also in room 4 with you.
Okay.
Well, she's a coward.
So let's say Lissa goes with Seth, So when you sort of dodge across the hall, Lissa goes with you.
Okay.
So 2 of you are in room 4, and the other 2 of you are now in room 5. All right. Let's see. Give me a second to think about what's going to be in room 5. What do you 2 want to do about this box in room 4?
Are the runes? Well, I suppose there weren't any runes on it previously, were there?
There were, yeah.
Have they dulled like the ones that dulled when the look was broken for this?
Yeah, you think that whatever activated just now might be the bulk of it.
Alright. Well, I suppose while we're here, I might as well pick it up and try to study it and see if there's a way to open it. There must be a witch in there, or else it wouldn't bloody exist.
Hollis, any ideas?
I mean, yeah, just open the box. I was thinking about maybe spending the last of my willpower to wild magic us out of here.
Okay. Let me see. I don't remember. Let's see. Checking to see what it costs. 3 essence, 3
Mhm.
coven fate, 3 fey bargain. No willpower.
Oh, well then I don't even have to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was thinking I would kind of flavor it Baba style and go to the end of the hallway where that little window is and wild magic the stone that's the wall into grave dirt and then just push it over so we can get out.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we can do that when we get toward the end. That sounds good if everybody else likes that.
Certainly. I could try to do an escape as well if you want to try to save yourself, but if willpower isn't necessary, then
Let's see. So when you go into room 5, you see there's no this is another room without a Iron Maiden in it. However, this one has a completely sealed cement cask with runes on it.
that's concrete, baby.
Yep. And it's built into like the back corner of the room.
Okay. Well, touching things with runes hasn't worked out for us so far.
You've gotten very lucky to not be dead. Yes.
Just wondering what.
Yeah, you could pick up the guard outside and throw him at that.
Lissa tells you that the Iron Maidens are sort of the default, that they put greens like her and eclectics and some of the mentalists in. But this one, and obviously that cube is for shifters. And this one she's not sure about. She hasn't seen one. She thinks they don't usually catch this kind of witch.
Trying to think of something that's not going to hurt me.
You could study it. There are runes on the outside.
Okay. Yeah, then maybe I can see if any of Quinn's teachings have paid off. If I've absorbed anything.
All right.
Maybe your pentacle of salt will make you happy.
We're going to say this is desperate, and I'm going to say standard effect.
Okay, so I'll do a study roll to see if I can get anything from this. I will. It's not working. I will add 2 more to give myself an extra die. Partial success, a 5. Do it at a cost.
Okay. So the runes on here are protective in nature rather than offensive. And so you feel safe getting closer to them. But when you touch them, nothing, they like happened with the previous ones. Nothing like that happens. However, you can feel there's an intense electrical buildup coming from inside, and a jolt of electricity fires out of the cask and hits a part of the walls that has some like electrical conduit running through it. And you notice that while it looked like it came out of the cask and into the wall, you think it's actually drawing electricity from the wall into the cask. And you start to see that the cement is heating up from the inside. And it might be about to blow. And then that's when the first of the robots comes in from behind you. I think Lissa is going to be the target of the robot's attack, though. So, unless you want to get in the way, or one of the other 2 of you. Yeah. So you have another one coming into your room too. So, but the first one went into the room with Seth and Lissa. So it opens its mouth and fires something at Lissa, and it's going to hit her unless you do something.
Let's check my room more.
It's completely up to you. You don't need to resist it, but
Would I be able to do dire form for either an incredible feat of physical force or to engage on equal footing in close combat as a protective action for her?
I think enigmatic form might make more sense.
Okay.
But I mean, I could see dire form working to potentially. It just more depends on what you want to do, and then you can figure out which to use. So what are you thinking of, like, in the fiction? What does it look like, you defending her from
I'm
being
thinking
shot?
of going in front of her, but then using shape-shifting to kind of create an amplified, like an exoskeleton, like a lobster or something for myself, as like a protective kind of casing.
Yeah, in that case, I think dire form makes a lot of sense. Okay. So yeah, what kind of creature?
I'll just go for like a lobster, I think.
Okay.
Like, just like kind of like maybe not an actual lobster, but just kind of like having that kind of plating cover me. So my fishy form kind of like calcifies, I guess, as like a protective casing.
Awesome. Well, I'm not going to make you make a roll for that because the thing it fired isn't meant to penetrate any kind of like armor or anything. So it hits your shell and bounces off. And you hear it tink across the floor. Just, falls and yeah, the thing comes up behind you and starts grabbing at you, grabbing your shell, and just trying to like tear you apart effectively. So we'll skip to the other room, room number 4, with the two of you in it. You have this box. It doesn't seem to be doing anything.
We shouldn't shake it, right? There's a person in there, and we probably shouldn't shake. But I'm really, really wanting to.
So there's this suit of armor is coming into the room that you're in and blocking the door.
Yeah. What are we going to do about that?
Is it obviously mechanical?
Its movements are very mechanical looking, yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe I will do an invoke Tartarus and pull water from the river Styx and short circuit this guy with a bunch of water.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How much essence?
I'm gonna go with 2 essence,
Okay.
maybe if I can get these to. They won't mark.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's funny, like I feel like I marked them all earlier just to see if they would work.
Yeah, I think they work the first time and then they stop working sometimes.
Mine works when it's not on Google Docs. Like anything there was refreshing and it's not keeping any of my markers, but I have it separately on my laptop and it's keeping everything there when it's not through the actual
Oh,
browser.
okay. Interesting.
So I don't know if that's the issue or not.
Okay. There we go. All right, 2 essence, and I'm gonna use my focus. No
Let's say
willpower.
desperate and standard effect.
Okay. Let me make sure. Yeah. I got a complete success.
Okay. What does that look like?
Um, let's see. I am going to Hollis is going to um rub her hands together, do her chanting, and she's going to run up to this guy and go for something lower like his legs and just put her hands onto his legs. And water is just going to pour out of her hands and just go into the leg what is it, like armor, the leg
Yeah.
armor, and then it just kind of fills up the rest of the armor and short circuits his innards, and he just slumps to the ground.
Yeah. Yep, you see like electricity like arcing out of him into the walls nearby. And then it looks like he's about to maybe explode, and you see a lightning bolt shoot out of him and into the room that Seth is in, and his energy is getting absorbed into that cask as well.
Oops.
But yeah, he slumps over to the ground, and you guys could like jump over him to get out
Okay. Yeah.
once this lightning's taken care of. Anyway,
Yeah.
so now there are 2 like beams of lightning that are going into the room that Seth's in.
Well, I want to head over to that room just so I can see what's happening.
I'm going to pick up. Actually, never mind. I'm not going to carry that around. Let's go into the other room.
Okay, you two shimmy out and around the corner, and you see this other suit of armor doing hand-to-hand combat with Seth in Seth Lobster form. And Seth, you know your dire form isn't going to hold out for very much longer, so you're going to have to do something else.
Because the cement cask is drawing energy from all the electrical forces,
Mhm.
I want to attempt to, while I'm grappling with this automaton, robot, whatever we're calling it,
Yeah.
I want to attempt to fling it off myself and onto the cask so it's even closer to draw energy, and that might be enough to burst the cask.
Yeah. All right. What do you want to use for that?
I think maybe a brawl,
Yeah.
just because it's close hand-to-hand combat.
I'm going to say because your dire form is wearing off, it's going to be lesser effect, unless you want to spend the essence to go back into dire or stay in dire form for another action.
Just open my grimoire back up. You know what? I have enough essence. I'll bop it again for longer dire form.
Okay. That'll put you back at standard effect.
Okay. And then, can I take a Fey bargain to get an extra die?
Yeah. Anybody? See. I think because you're sort of in the middle of all this, you're gonna get burned by some of the lightning. Like you just sort of back into one of the beams as you're trying to hurl this thing onto the cask.
Okay,
So
that just
I think you're
means
gonna
the rest
take
of the party gets some cooked lobster for dinner.
level 1 harm, back burn.
Okay.
I do love lobster.
Back burn, back bruise, and battery acid burns.
Luckily, with your
It's been a day.
with your vital form, those two level 1s are going to go away as soon as the
Oh yeah.
undertaking ends.
I figured I had to tap into that with how Seth's always getting banged up.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes. Complete success out of 6. There we
All
go.
right. I'm going to describe you hurling this automaton.
So I'm imagining he's kind of got its fingers dug into my plates,
Mm-hmm.
and because the suit of armor is essentially the same way, I'm going to grip my fingers underneath and just attempt to twist and shove. Use that momentum to kind of fling his fingers out.
Yeah. And you sort of stick your back out and the beam comes through and slices through some of your shell. And then you hurl him up onto the cask and he almost like magnetizes to it. And you just see energy being sucked out of him. And the helmet falls off and you see all this twisting and turning machinery and electronics beeping and buzzing. And the armor on his chest starts to crumple and shred off of him as the cask reaches like critical mass and just starts crumbling, and all the energy beams stop, and you see a mild-mannered looking gentleman step out of the cask, throwing off shackles and chains and stuff that have obviously been like, they look like they've been burned off or eaten through with acid, who knows over how many years. And you can see the electricity in his eyes as he's just brimming with all the electrical energy that he's been sucking in. And he just steps out, and he's a little wiggly, but he steps forward and is like, "How are we getting out of here?"
Let me get my box.
All right. As you all go running back into the hallway, and Hollis hops over the down robot to get the box, he steps out into the hallway, and you see the central, so there's the 2 cage doors that came down, and then the central door. The central door raises up so you can see through into the previous area, and there are like 10 guards there, and they're working on some levers and latches and trying to get those gates raised back up so they can get into the room with you guys. And they're readying guns and all kinds of other weapons, ready to fire on you as soon as they get it ready. So we're gonna put them on a 4 o'clock, to where they're it's basically ready, aim, and once we hit that 4 o'clock, it's fire.
Where is it? We should move quickly.
Yeah.
Wait. They're scrambling to get metal doors open.
Yeah.
We do have a friend who might be able to help us here. If you want to get out of here, friend, whomever this electric gentleman is, you might be better off by starting to help out.
All right.
If you electrify a metallic door, they're not going to have a very easy time handling it.
He sort of steps forward into a position where he'll be their primary target if they were to get through, and waits there and just sort of watches them, and you can't really see what's going on with him facially, but he's seems to be in the position that you've asked him to get into. So he's probably readying a spell of some kind. Hollis, you get the box. Nothing else goes off on it. And then you're all back out in the hallway, potentially ready to go, depending on what you want to do now.
In regards to our escape, I have an idea. I'm thinking I could do some wild magic with that little open window that we have and essentially turn into a kraken. So that way I not only squeeze in through the window, I smash open a large enough hole for us to get through, and then you guys can slide down the tentacles to get out. But I don't know.
Yeah, that'll put you in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have a kraken to swim us to safety.
Yeah, potentially.
A glorified boat.
Thankfully, there should be enough tentacles to hold all of us.
Yeah, with wild magic, you could potentially transform everybody.
Into krakens. Oh God, perish the thought. I'd rather die.
Or gnats, and then you just fly through the...
So wild magic
Yeah.
isn't just specific to the individual casting it?
No, you could literally teleport all of you back to your Covenstead if you wanted to.
Oh.
But as long as it makes sense for your grimoire. So shape-shifting makes more sense for that.
Well,
I have
I could shapeshift us all into moths and we fly out. Potentially. Small enough to get out, and wouldn't be an issue with the water or climbing down, because we'd be airborne.
Right. So let's do that. Is that a command roll for getting this guy to help out?
I suppose. I assumed he'd just be willing to help, but I could.
I mean, he is, but it always goes by the player character's roles. So
then I shall give an attempt to guide him forcefully but politely into helping us out.
all right.
And it's a complete success.
Okay. All right.
I suppose if some person came and helped you break out, you'd be willing to obey a few commands.
Yeah. All right. who all do you want to target with your wild magic? Lissa and this mystery man as well?
Yes. When we shift, would we still be able to hang on to this box if I were to turn us into something like bats instead? Or would we have dropped this box?
Bats wouldn't be able to get out through the mesh. The mesh is really small.
Okay.
It's like a horsefly couldn't get out.
Okay.
But
So are we just stuck leaving this box then?
We have to have the box.
yeah.
It's the person we came for.
Yeah. So how
Well,
do we do with
Hollis,
the
you
box?
had an
Go.
idea.
Yeah, just the grave dirt and knocking it all down.
But that
And
only
then-
gets that makes a hole.
Yeah, but I don't know like what level we're on or how far we'd have to go or how we could leave.
So
Double
you're
down on some wild magic. You break the wall down. I make us something bigger. We fly off.
Yeah, we might
Yeah.
as well just teleport.
Yeah, we could just do that. That might just be easier.
Why don't I attempt to pull us all physically into the astral using wild magic
damn,
temporarily to get us home?
that's
Sounds cool.
yeah, that's really cool. And it kind of fits with the theme of the astral stuff we did earlier too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like demystifying the astral all in one session, to a degree. I think that's
That'd be a
interesting. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. So the mystery man starts radiating this like ball of electricity, like a ball lightning, and just sort of Hadoukens it down the hallway, and it leaves him, and you just see it just twisting, and it's moving really slowly, and it's shorting out everything that it goes past, and you can hear the guards at the other end of the hallway. They are freaking out, like they are really completely unclear as to what's going to happen, but it's probably going to kill all of them. So they're dispersing as this ball lightning comes toward them, and that gives you all a second to try some wild magic if you'd like.
All right, it's my first attempt at wild magic, so
All right, let me. I'm gonna just peek back at the wild magic section. We'll go over what you need. Wild witches use powers beyond those listed in their grimoire in times of great need, drawing on both raw inner power and the ambient magical energy of the world around them. They pull off feats of magic that cause sapes to quake in fear and drop to their knees in praise. Create a wild magic effect or multiple effects that logically flow together based on your character's grimoire, aspect, and disposition with the assistance of other players and GM. The position is desperate, but the energies channeled tend to halt most sapes and witches alike in their tracks. The consequences are always grand and occult in nature. Spend 3 essence, or all remaining essence if you don't have 3, plus 3 Coven Fate, and plus 3 Fey Bargain. Then start a 6 clock for the imminent intervention of the Red Watch. We don't have to bother with that. It's going to be a 0. Yeah, they're here. You make 1 die for each Coven tier, so it'd be... Are you Coven tier 2 or 3?
Definitely not 3, so yes.
Okay. And then we roll a... If you roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, we roll a complication. If you roll a 4 or 5, it's still a success. If you roll a 6, it's a success. If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, it fails, and there's a complication. So,
Alright.
2 dice.
2 dice, and is there a special command for that?
No. It's a fortune roll. So just F.
It is a 5.
Okay, so do exclamation point 1 Wild. W-Y-L-D.
10 of Pentacles. Caster loses all essence, gains increased effect for all non-mental and non-magical action rolls.
Okay, so you basically turn into, you lose all your essence, and you turn into a physical powerhouse for the remainder of the undertaking.
Which is the exact opposite of my usual.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that is successful. So, do you want to describe what this looks like?
Oh, yes. So, I'm going to gesture to everyone to come close. And of course, I'm going to just stare down the aisle so that I can make eye contact with any of those guards who start gathering back around after the unleashed lightning. And I slip off my gloves, toss them to the floor, to leave them something to remind them of little of me as I start to pull the astral energy, the essence from some of the captured witches about, see if I can pull it out of what remains in their imprisonment, bring it into myself, and assist me in essentially dematerializing all of us.
All right. And yeah, I think this, all of your artifacts and all the things you're carrying that have any magical nature, they basically come to life with you while you're in the astral. You at first you're only able to walk around like you're still in the real world, but you realize very quickly that you're in complete control over what you look like, how you move, you can fly if you will it, things like that.
Strangeness.
Yeah. And you notice that the nature of the world is much more malleable than you're used to. You can just sort of push your hands through that window, and it's like a cheese grater. But when you push your hand through it, your hand just reforms on the other side of it. You just sort of, you can push through matter, and you're all able to get away. But you have all these magic items and stuff that you have. You start to see their like true nature. And so the Fey enchanted items, like your headband, is like this Fey mink that is like running around your head and climbing around all over your body, and it just seems very excited. All of your items are like that. All of the artifacts.
To sate my curiosity, because I would likely still be wearing it, we picked up a necklace at the museum. I have no idea what it does. Would I get some kind of idea of it while we're here?
Yeah, I don't think I've come up with it either. So, but we can, we can reflavor this with whatever we figure out it does. Yeah.
All right. And for now, perhaps we should push our way through the walls and walk across the water until we're home.
Yeah.
I like the sound of
So
that.
the gentleman that's with you tells you his name is Adrian. And are you taking all three of them, Lissa, Farah, and Adrian, back to your Covenstead?
But they probably have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
They are indebted to us.
Plus, they need your help to get back out of the astral.
Yes. We can't just drop them off astrally.
And we need to ground out this magic before we go anywhere else anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Is that the end of the undertaking?
Yeah.
I believe so. I'm not sure what we can really interact with from within the astral otherwise.
Yeah, you can see the nature of things, the astral nature of things, but it's not of any particular use unless you had a particular thing you wanted to do.
Then we should head home and get back into our physical forms. Especially
Yeah,
because I'm a bit spent. I don't feel like I can do anything anymore.
yeah.
Ghastly.
So when you get back, I think with the consequence that you have, you're gonna need to find a conduit from the astral back into the real. Um, so I think you head back to the Covenstead and you try your best to get everybody back out, but you just don't have the ability right now with the lack of essence and everything. So I think you're gonna be on the run from the Red Watch until you find a astral place of power that you can use to come back through.
But if we
So
need an astral power, why don't we just head right to the Scarlet Incarnation Temple?
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Okay, let's do just a quick Scarlet Incarnation. I think is tier 3, so let's do a 3 die uh, uh, fortune roll.
Shall I?
Yeah.
Right. That is a 5. A mixed result.
Sorry, they're only a tier 2. What was the first 2 dice?
The first die was a 5, I believe.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Awesome. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 entities that need to come out of the astral. Can you roll 1 die?
Fortune?
Yeah. On a 1, 2, or 3, it's one of the 3 of you.
Which is a 4.
Hmm. Who's the first person you all saved? Lissa?
Yeah.
Lissa.
Lissa gets trapped in the statue as you are all trying to step through. And when you come out on the other side, you all like slide down the roof. And after the first person's done that, there are people down there catching everyone. And everyone comes back out of it safely, but then Lissa attempts to make her way back through, and you see her arms come through, and then the statue has another set of arms because she's stuck. So she suffocates in the statue after trying to reemerge through it.
Well, I'm glad I didn't roll a 1, 2, or 3.
It wouldn't have been that bad if it was a player character.
Oh, I feel so bad.
All right, and we will stop there for the day. And we'll do a drawing down the moon and get your reward from the Scarlet Incarnation next time.
That certainly ended almost depressingly.
Hello, overlapping Magisteria. You caught us right at the tail end of the session. They just lost an NPC that they were trying to save. But
Thankfully, she wasn't the target.
yeah. All right. Does somebody want to roll drawing down the moon?
That's
I don't think I can.
Yeah.
How does that one work?
That is a 2 dice fortune roll.
Okay. Good result, standard effect, or 3 ticks out of 6.
Okay. So that's going to be 3 willpower and 6 essence that you regain. And Hollis is saved from traumaing out.
Thank goodness I slapped that cube.
Slap that cube right out of your hand. That was the interesting thing, was the rune going off and showering the entire area with flame, but managing not to hit anybody. Well, all right. I think that is going to be the tail end of it. We will be back. Oh, well. Are we going to be back next week? Next Tuesday is Anya's birthday. So that will be up in the air as well. We'll let everybody know via Twitter and other websites. So you can find us at Balsamic Games on Twitter. I'm Gavin the GM on Twitter, and Children of Midnight is at Midnight Kith, Kith, on Twitter. And so if all of you can let everybody know where you can be followed. Lilith?
Easy breezy, nice and quick. I'm the editor and photographer for the Morningstar content, so just listen to Morningstar and you can find all my work there.
And I'm the Morningstar of the Morningstar content. And you can find all of our content at _Cytherian on Instagram and Twitter, and the Cytherian on Facebook.
Anya?
I think my Twitter handle is listed here. Yeah, I think that's about the really only place you can find me publicly out in the interwebs.
Yep. And Anya is accepting birthday gifts through shop.balsamicgames.com. Now that's the merch store for our exclusive content. And yeah, maybe you should make a wish list. But yeah, Children of Midnight is a free Quickstart that you can get at childrenofmidnight.com. It's on itch.io, it's on Balsamic, or it's on DriveThruRPG. It's a fully featured Blades in the Dark style, Forged in the Dark game about witches and their familiars. So, we're really so glad that everyone is following us and having a good time. We're growing by leaps and bounds, and it's so cool. So thank you all for being a part of this journey with us, and we will let you know via Twitter if we will be playing next week, and then we'll be going on vacation after that, but we should be back
we should be back
our vacation in a yurt by the time to play the next session as well. So we will fill you in on that via Twitter, so make sure to follow us there. And all of our information will also be on the credits screen that will be coming up in just a moment. So it was so awesome to meet you. Thank you, first time chatter misnomers, for coming in. And we'll let the credits roll. Have a great night, everyone.